Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit or Zappy here, back again with something very special. I think you will agree. It is the start of a brand new reaction show. And in terms of shows that has been requested for me to react to, this show tops the list alongside Death Note. Ever since I started reacting 2.5 years ago, or however long it was, this show and Death Note have always appeared in the comments, and people want me to react to those shows. Now, unfortunately, I can't react to Death Note. I wish I could. I've already seen it. I watched it like back in a year after it was released, like in 2009 or something like that. I wish I could just erase my memory and just, actually react to it and have it like on camera and everything like that. Because that show is right up my alley in terms of, like the shows that I really enjoy reacting to. Like for those that don't know, like my style of reacting is obviously note taking and trying to theorize and everything like that going forward. Getting all the little bits of information that I can and sort of, trying to deduce something from that going forward. And, Death Note is one of those shows that is, almost like prime for that. And I think in a lot of ways, that show probably set the precedent for my style of reacting in a way, because, for shows that I can enjoy, like just like straight up comedy shows or stuff like that, they're not the best for me to react to personally. You know what I mean? I like to sort of get involved in the story and the plot and everything like that, going on in the world building and like sort of putting all those jigsaw pieces together to try and, rack my brain around what's going to happen in the future and seeing if I'm right or wrong. Like I get a lot of enjoyment out of that, and that's my style of reacting. So yeah, unfortunately I can't do Death Note. It is my #1 favourite anime of all time, Death Note. So there is that. However, this show, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, is considered widely across the board, at least on the internet anyway. The anime community, they've put this at #1. They put it at ranked 1 anime, like of all time. That is a hell of an achievement. So I'm very fucking excited to get into this. I'm glad I have never watched it before, because in terms of reacting to something, like, and having it sort of like having your blind first experience of a show and having it like sort of just there in like, like video form, something you can go back and watch kind of thing. It's kind of nice to have. In a lot of ways, it's like, I guess, similar to like, taking a picture used to be, and I guess it is still at this day, like stuff that you can kind of look back on and being like, oh man, like that was my first experience watching that show. I would have loved to be able to have that for Death Note, but unfortunately I don't. So to be able to have it for this, which is considered like, the #1 anime of all time, is nice to have. My expectations are high. I mean, I'm not going to lie about that. Like, they're very high. But it's got to be that popular for a reason. So it wouldn't surprise me if this show exceeds those expectations. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with it. So yes, I mean, that's all I got to say on that. But it is episode 1. That means everyone gets it for the same, exactly the same time. There is no early access for episode 1. However, if you do want to get access to episode 2 right after watching this video, then you can become an early access tier patron, get access to episode 2 right now. If you don't want to do that for whatever reason, then episode 2 will be released publicly on Monday. And then continuing on from that, you'll get 2 episodes every Monday. Okay, so, for example, on Monday when episode 2 drops, if you want to get access to episode 3 and 4 early, a week early, then, being an early access to our patron, you'll get those 2 early. I know that episode 1, this episode is coming out obviously on Wednesday, which is just because of work and having to move my schedule forward to accommodate that. That's just the reason why this is coming out Wednesday and not Monday. So, there is that. It means that you've got less time to basically wait for episode 2, I suppose. So, kind of works out in a way. But anyway, yes, so with that out of the way, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, what do I know about it? Nothing really, other than the fact that, I mean, it's got Alchemist in the title. I'm pretty sure, like, at some point over the, the amount of years that this show's been out, like, on social media, I may have, like, caught a clip, like, given out by some, like, anime company or guru or fan or anything like that could have just, sort of, like, caught my eye. But, I mean, even then, like, trying to rack my brain around what, like, if it even could be Full Metal, it might not be. Because there's, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of anime that, like, all deal with like this sort of like, either the magic or the sciences or anything like that. And sort of alchemy, I guess, sort of draws the line in between them in a way. Like, in a lot of ways, alchemy is magic and science combined together. You know what I mean? And then there's that whole thing of, like, magic is, you know, it's just science that we haven't learned yet, or we don't know about yet. So, you know, it's going to be an interesting watch, I imagine, and I can't wait to get into it. So yes, let's get into it. So yeah, I mean, the reaction itself, from what I know, this show is alright for copyright. I don't think it gets taken off YouTube, at least not a lot anyway. So with that being said, the reaction should be just here on YouTube, okay? If for whatever reason in the future it gets taken down for copyright, I will re-upload this video and it'll just be the discussion portion. The reaction will go on my website. So if that does happen, the link will be in the description below for the reaction. There will also be the link to the full length actually down there at all times. If you want to watch my reactions to this show in the full episode and not just the 10-minute cut version, then the offer down there for the full length, it'll be there for you. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else to really talk about. I'm going to stop rambling on and we're going to get into episode 1 of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood and see what we get. I like episode 1s, especially the post-discussion afterwards, because it kind of gives me a sort of a little taste of what we're going to be in for going forward, and I like discussion-based discussions because that's generally the idea of them. But anyway, yes, I'm going to stop rambling on. We're going to get in episode 1, see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. We're going to be reacting to this in dub as well. I put out a poll. Dub won by like quite a ways.
The freezing alchemist. Really? He's here? Consider it done, sir.
I'm glad you're with us in Central for a while, Mustang. It's good to know I have people here I can count on. Our rising young star is here as well. I'm placing him at your disposal. The Fullmetal Alchemist, Edward Elric.
The Colonel's never gonna let us out of here, is he?
We already bought our tickets for Lior, too. Does this mean we're not going?
I don't know, Al. For now, let's just get this over with, okay?
Is that a robot? By the way, did that guy call the dude a Führer? Holy shit. I have no idea if I should be watching the opening, but I like the opening though. The woman's got like this whispery voice that I really like.
You halt! Halt or I'll shoot!
So is this the freezing alchemist? I guess so. Damn, dude. I mean, the
freezes, water boils. Either way, you're just as dead.
so he can do both?
What a nasty thing to do.
Oh god.
All people should know great deeds require great sacrifice.
Save your breath. The laws of alchemy don't justify murder.
Cool. He can just cheat. What the fuck?
Ow!
Why does Bart have his face on it? Bastard.
An automated alarm. I know you. You are the Fullmetal Alchemist, Edward Elric.
Okay. So he is the Fullmetal
It's not
Alchemist.
you.
No. I'm his younger brother, Alphonse.
Whoa.
I've heard the stories, but still I never imagined this. The little kid.
Don't call me little! There. Come
He
on,
can just
let's get
recreate
going,
his,
Al.
of course he can.
Got a train
He
to
just
catch.
recreate his coat.
Okay.
Did he call it an auto nail arm? Oh fuck no.
He's gone.
Damn it, now he really pissed me off.
You had to go charging right
Yeah,
after.
yeah, I get it, alright? I'm sorry, Kay, whatever.
His name is Isaac McDougal, or as he was known back in the day, Isaac the Freezer. He's a former state alchemist.
Okay.
He's been working with the anti-establishment movement ever since. Taking him into custody is a matter of top priority. Have you turned up any leads for getting your bodies back to normal?
Maybe if you ever gave us time to look!
Looks like my timing was perfect. You two are the Elric brothers, right?
The pest.
It's an honor to finally meet the youngest state alchemist ever. You're a real legend around here.
They
You
all,
want Edward.
they all
I'm
think
actually
Alphonse
his
is the-
younger brother, Alphonse.
What? You're the Fullmetal Alchemist? Sorry, I had no idea you'd be so...
Go on, say little.
I understand that you two don't have a place to stay, which means you'll have to come with me. Hi, princess!
That's it.
Daddy, your beard is itchy.
Like this. Itchy, itchy.
What's that? Is it a pie?
Okay, eat up.
This is great.
Looks like a quiche.
Shy, eat all you want.
Alphonse, how are you gonna eat wearing that armor? Take it off, relax.
Well, you see,
He's not allowed to. He has to wear it all the time. It's part of his alchemy training. You know how it is. The Crimson Alchemist works alone. I always have.
Kimberly, if we work together, we can bring down Bradley and his godforsaken military. You saw the horrors that took place in Ishval. You were there, damn it.
My motives aren't so sophisticated as revenge or honor or any of that. The reason I killed all of those men was because I could.
Of course.
It's that simple.
I mean, was he offering a way out? You know? Oh, Jesus, dude.
Miss Gracie's quiche. It looked a lot like...
It was a quiche.
Yeah, almost as good, too.
Really adding it to the list of things I'm gonna eat once I get my body back.
Right.
I sure would like to get our old bodies back soon.
I know. Me too.
One more and Fuhrer Bradley is on his way to hell.
Raise the temperature of water fast enough, it expands with the force of a bomb blast. And the human body is 70% water.
Finished.
Yeah, is he like making like something akin to like bombs everywhere almost?
Impressive reflexes, Isaac. You are able to dodge my alchemy so easily.
Dude!
Is that you, Armstrong?
Indeed.
Oh, God. Why am I not surprised that he's in here?
Strong-arm alchemist, Alex Louis Armstrong in the flesh. Except you'll need far more than water to quench my fists.
Water from his canteen,
That was
huh?
nifty.
It's been a long time, Freezer.
Well, Roy Mustang. So the Flame Alchemist came out to play.
Oh,
Water
God.
meets flame. The flame goes out.
Yeah, it's kind of a weakness a bit.
Still there. Perfect.
Stop right there. I was wondering what you were doing in this alley, so I came back to check it out.
There's nowhere to run this time.
Clearly. But who's running?
I'm wondering if he's got those. Yeah, I was thinking he's got multiple around, so everything within the radius. What, like?
Chemic reaction. A philosopher's stone.
Huh? What?
All the moisture in the air.
Edward Elric. You've sworn your life to the state as a dog of the military. Do you really know the ones you serve or what their true plans are?
Who cares? It's not my problem.
Don't be a fool! He'll lead us all to ruin. I'm only doing what needs to be done.
Clearly, the only thing they care about is getting their bodies back.
You have a philosopher's stone, don't you?
What are you talking about?
I won't ask again. Where is it?
And what are you going to do, boy? You're out of your league!
Stand back and prepare for the flight of Armstrong Alchemy!
It's all yours, Major!
Witness the alchemic arts passed down the Armstrong line for generations!
What's it? What kind of alchemist is he? Just an alchemist of strength? I don't know.
If they all meet in the middle...
Oh, it's the same.
Damn it!
It's a
Central Command!
shit. That's the pattern.
It's gonna freeze it over! Can you handle the transmutation circles?
Consider them erased.
Not so fast!
Ishval is. Nice. This fucking.
Too slow!
His fucking head came off.
There's no one in there. It's empty.
Where does his like power come from then?
The soul was bonded to the armor. Your
He
brother,
is lost
he
everything.
his entire
That's what it
body.
was in the opening.
You fools committed the ultimate taboo! You attempted human transmutation, didn't you? Alchemy's one and only unforgivable sin!
God, what have I done?
Christ.
He's my brother! Just give it back!
Whew.
There are some lines you really shouldn't cross.
It's a point out me when he can just go and smash the guy. No.
There's no water for you to use here.
I have all the water I need. 70% of my body.
He'll end up destroying him, right? If he uses too much, surely. Oh, that was like blood as well.
Bradley.
He just walked into black and white. What? Except his blood. Created a blood icicle. I don't think it's going to end well for this guy. That. God knows what fucking Bradley's power is. What's that? What was that? Fucking. Just in time.
Job well done, Fullmetal. I came out to see if I could lend a hand.
You know, we never did find out whether or not he had a Philosopher's Stone.
No, but maybe it'll say something in the official report.
When I heard you were in the hospital, I dashed right over!
Oh my god.
You're in desperate need of my assistance.
It's like a butler, dude. Why are you taking off your shirt, dude?
The example of a perfect physical specimen to inspire your recovery.
I'm guessing his leg is like made of metal as well.
I see, so Isaac's dead, is he? That's a shame. I had such high hopes for him, too. Sounds like he overused it. Gluttony. Try to chew quietly. I'm on the phone. We'll be ready. It all begins very soon.
What is he munching on? Ugh. Okay. Okay, episode 1. Right, interesting. We have the setup, I guess, for sort of like an organization of people, which I believe they referred to as like the anti-establishment movement or something like that. However, I don't really know how much that is actually true. Like, specifically with those two characters at the end, the woman who I didn't get a name for, but I think the guy who was eating, you can only imagine what he was eating, was called Gluttony. And I wouldn't be surprised actually if the Crimson Alchemist, Kimberly, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a part of that as well. You know, but I mean, I don't know. The thing is that with them, it just feels like anti-establishment. I don't know. It feels like they're a bit more darker and not really sort of like I wouldn't, like, you know what I mean, if you lined them up specifically two at the end, I wouldn't really picture them as part of an anti-establishment movement. But you know, I feel like that maybe this the Isaac McDougal being a sort of traitor, it feels as though this is obviously something that has happened, like sort of not recent, but I feel like more like recently. I feel like he was almost not really brainwashed, but I feel like he was getting sort of ideologies and stuff from whoever these guys are, and was sort of brought into their fold. And at the end of the day, kind of used as a pawn. I feel like that's kind of what I got the feeling about. But like, I feel like the interesting thing, I guess, about this episode, and I suppose it's not going to really change much. I mean, how many? There's like 60 something odd episodes. There may be like, I guess, certain times later on where they will just keep it serious. But the interesting thing, I guess, about it was the fact of, like, you know, generally they went all out sort of on episode 1 to kind of, I guess, get your sort of attention so that you're ready for going into the next episodes and everything like that. But they had it like sort of like a split, sort of like between lighthearted and dark moments. Like the idea of like people essentially Isaac being able to use his use water in a way to sort of heat up the other person's body and like sort of, you know, like a a burn freeze almost in a way, and it ended up just cooking their like the insides of you know, the person. Like that's dark, dude. And like freezing people, pushing them over, and they just obviously crumble like ice. Damn. And I guess if we're taking from what happened obviously at the end of the episode, like that one guy, I assume he's eating a dude or a person. You know. So yeah, I mean, it definitely an interesting sort of dynamic between the two, like having it lighthearted and dark. I guess we'll go into the, you know, the main characters being Edward and Alphonse Elric, who are looking to restore their bodies back to normal. Now, I picked up on that when they first said it, when they were in the, I wouldn't even know what you call it, like whatever the HQ place is. Somebody pointed that out. And then later on, it was like, you know, I think the next thing it was brought up was like, take your helmet off at the dinner table kind of thing, because how are you going to eat? You know, so in a way it was kind of just like, yeah, it was this idea that it's not kind of that simple in a way. The interesting thing is that it's taboo. So that's something obviously I wasn't expecting. The idea of like sort of human transmutation, trying to transmutate, you know, a human or yourself or anything like that. You know, because I guess it's something obviously to do that idea with binding a soul. I guess it's not too dissimilar from like Harry Potter, for example. There was that whole thing with you know, Voldemort, how he would, you know, basically take his soul and bind it into a sort of a physical object, you know, and by doing that you're kind of breaking away your soul from you know, from like ever being pure, you know what I mean? It's not a natural thing almost anymore, and I don't know if there is some sort of degree to that in this world. You know, I'm sure that'll be something that we, you know, we get into going ahead, but like it's definitely a sort of interesting sort of dynamic, and especially the fact of that is the only alchemist taboo. I believe that to be the case. I think what he was saying is that like the one like sort of like true taboo for alchemy is trying to do human transmutation, and whatever it was that Elric was trying to do, because I assume it was him that was did I say Elric? Edward, sorry. I assume that it was Edward that was trying to do it. And in the sort of midst of trying to do it, he lost a leg. I assume that obviously Alphonse was completely like, I wouldn't even know what the word for it is, just like kind of vanished. Like, you know what I mean? I this is the thing, is like obviously in the opening it shows what I assume is the younger brother sort of getting like enveloped by like nothingness almost. Like that's just the only way I can kind of describe it. But you know, so I assume that that's obviously like what had happened there. The interesting thing that I find is that, you know, in the reaction when he was obviously in the hospital bed or whatever, that we never saw his leg, but I did say that I assumed that he has a metal leg then as well. But what I noticed was in the flashback to when we saw Edward without a leg, he had both arms, but now he has this sort of like full-on metal arm. At least I assume it is, and it's not like like an armor cast thing over the top. You know what I mean? But there was something that was, I guess, special about it, because Isaac obviously pointed it out, that it's something like an auto mail arm. Now I don't have subtitles on, so unfortunately I can't like actually tell if that is what he is calling it an auto mail arm. Auto, I don't know what that describes, other than the only thing I can imagine it being is that he doesn't use Edward doesn't use transmutation circles, at least anymore, after that whole thing. Because that I noticed that in that flashback he was actually like, you know, over a transmutation circle, and I imagine that's the reason why he doesn't use it anymore, because he's probably traumatized by that whole event. And I'm guessing this thing basically negates the need for that. So he's able to use maybe like more specialized techniques that would normally take a transmutation circle in order to work, but he's able to do it like sort of on the fly without having to create one. I'm guessing that's what it is. And I mean, the interesting thing is that I want to know is like how he's become this like sort of special thing that is known as the Fullmetal Alchemist. Like, it's like he's like this sort of this specialized person in a way, and I don't know how he got to this sort of spot, and I would like to know that going forward, because I mean, the idea that he was using transmutation circles, and for whatever reason why he was trying to do human transmutation, I don't know if it was a case of like he didn't know it was taboo at the time, or if he was trying to fix something, or what. But the end of the day, it's a mixture of that and how difficult, I suppose, human transmutation is compared to other like alchemy like styles. I'm trying to think of a word, and I was just like, you know what I mean? But you've got, clearly they all have these different things, like similar in like in Demon Slayer you have all these Hashira that have the different, you know, elements and things and styles, and yeah, I guess element is the correct word, isn't it? Especially when dealing with alchemy. But yeah, so they, you know, human transmutation, I don't know if that sort of has a degree of difficulty which is really hard, and maybe Edward was just sort of naturally talented in this area of alchemy, but it was because that was difficult that he, you know, he ended up fucking it up. Because just if that is the case, then it's something. It must be something to do with the fact of like he's just naturally gifted, and so he didn't have any training. I mean, he must have done though, right? I mean, there's no, like, even if you're naturally gifted at something, you still need to just like, you know, train yourself to do it. Like, you know, it's not just something that is just there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see that, like, if he has like some sort of you know, master teaching or whatever. But I mean, it's interesting, like, I guess he's part of just like, you know, like the general sort of army. I didn't write down the name of, like, you know, like the, I guess the core group of people that they call themselves something, but like, you know, I guess to other people, like, they're considered dogs of the you know, dogs of the state or whatever the hell they called it. But there's obviously like something, like, things that have taken place that we've gotten to a point where we've started in an interesting place where it's kind of like we're already in the middle of it, and obviously, like, you know, over time I'm sure we will get flashbacks to how they got to that place. You know, anime tends to, you know, in terms of storytelling, they like to do that a lot. You know, so I'm expecting that to be the case and how they got to where they are. You know, but yeah, so he's conjured Alphonse and soul, like, bound his soul to the armor. So I guess there's no way for Alphonse to really die then. It's interesting. It's like he's in this, like, I wonder what it's like for him. Like, the way that he talks, and, you know, obviously he knows that Edward is his brother and everything like that. That, you know, I guess nothing much has changed about him. But I would be interested to know, like, sort of how he functions in that thing. You know what I mean? This idea that, I guess, in this world the soul is like, I don't know, because I guess, like, if you're just like, you know, if you've actually got all of your natural body, I guess if you're looking at it the same way, then I guess your soul is what allows you to, I guess it's consciousness, really, isn't it? Like, I guess soul and consciousness kind of go hand in hand there. So I guess it's just the consciousness factor that allows him to really control the you know, the armor as if it wasn't there. But I mean, that there's interesting things in there that, like, I would like to know, like, the ins and outs of how. You know what I mean? But I mean, that's just me. We'll see if that's something that crops up. It may do, it may not. Again, like what I was talking about in the pre-discussion is that alchemy, like, that alchemist sort of line, it does sort of separate magic and science in a way that like it's almost too combined. You know what I mean? It's not purely science and it's not purely magical, and there's that sort of in between. You know, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting. They bring up like you know, there's philosopher's stones in this story, which again, with the soul binding thing, is kind of similar to Harry Potter in a way. You know what I mean? It's like they obviously had like obviously in you know Harry Potter, it's you know a magic world where magic is actually a thing, and of course alchemy is one of those sort of you know sort of like branches in a way. You know, so it's not a surprise that is something that actually is brought up, a philosopher's stone. I'm pretty sure the philosopher's stone does actually have some merit in actual history. It's not like just a thing that was made up for fiction. A philosopher's stone, this idea that it is a thing, is kind of like that, like a legendary item in a way, something that used to exist. You know, so it does have its place sort of in the real world, but I do like it when they take things from the real world and sort of add a sort of fictional world sort of around it and like make it as like it's like this magical artifact. You know what I mean? But yeah, so other than that, other people that we've met Colonel Mustang, who is a flame alchemist. Isaac, he was the freezing alchemist. It doesn't really matter now, he's dead. You know, but I guess that's that. Edward and Alphonse Elric, of course, the two brothers. Fura Bradley, yeah, interesting. Fura, I mean, in some ways, I'm not surprised because Germany and Japan have this sort of relationship that has, you know, I mean, it depends on how far you want to go back. I mean, I'm not a historian, but I do know that they were on the same side during the World War, right? So, you know what I mean? They've had this, you know, this connection for a long period of time, and in a lot of ways, they like that has impacted sort of like the way that they sort of tell stories in a way, and they have this sort of partnership. So, in a lot of anime and stuff like that, if there's anything to do with foreigners, it's not all the time, but you know that there's a lot of a vast majority of, I guess, Germans in or like German sort of either culture in name or you know however they work, like in anime there's a lot of that. You know, and this is another example of that, like Führer. You know what I mean? I was like just taken aback for a second because, like, you know, that's one thing I haven't heard in anime before is the term Führer. And any time before now, the only ever time I've ever associated the word Führer is with Adolf Hitler. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure that Führer just means like general or something in like English, you know, but we'll see. Oh well, here we go. Führer, a tyrannical leader. So they all talk. They all call him Führer, right? Like even fuck. Damn it! I didn't write the pest guy down. The guy that Edward and Alphonse are staying with. He called the Bradley Führer, and I think Mustang did as well. But I mean, in English, you know, it's described as a tyrannical leader. But this is the other thing that I want to kind of talk about, is this idea of like, okay, so Führer Bradley, this kind of works into my other thoughts about this then. Because I was thinking that maybe the cause that Isaac was fighting for wasn't unfounded. Like maybe this idea that actually what he was on about, maybe he was right all along kind of thing. The reason why I think this is because there was a few things that sort of led to the idea that this could be a thing that crops up in the future. One of them being that Edward, like when Isaac was talking to Edward and obviously he set all of the transmutation circles away while it was going off. He was obviously talking about how like why are you part of this group? Like don't you know like how sort of like you know I'm obviously not quoting, but like all of this stuff behind the scenes and everything that's going on, it's like this is all bad for like society and everything like that. And Edward's like, I don't care about that. And I feel like it would make sense, I guess, in the long run for like Edward to, of course, the whole thing that his goal at the end of the day is to get his body back to normal and his brother's body back to normal. That's sort of his goal, right? His personal goal, the only thing he really cares about. Of course, he does all of this stuff on the side, you know what I mean? But that's sort of his goal. Now, the way that I can see the story going is that, like, this whole time, like, obviously trying to get this Philosopher's Stone, I imagine the Philosopher's Stone will help in getting their bodies back. Because the Philosopher's Stone being, like, that sort of magical object that can sort of, you know, has that those magical properties that could possibly do that. That'll be what he's sort of looking for. That's why, you know, Edward was so sort of, like, stoked in a way and serious about it when the idea that he had a Philosopher's Stone was brought up, and he was, you know, he was desperate to find out where it was. I can see the story going away where if the Führer was part of this whole, like, I don't know, if he had a Philosopher's Stone, for example, and maybe it did come out that everything that Isaac was saying was true, then it would move the story in that way, and it would become like a I guess it would have elements of, like, obviously, like, I guess political, like, sort of sediments in there, with obviously being, like, the guy being the Führer, you know what I mean, the leader of something, but because of that, he's, like, corrupt and everything like that. So you have that sort of political sort of basis in there. And maybe Edward fighting against that. And also the fact of, like, Bradley came out to you know, to kill Isaac. Now, I mean, that could be either way. Like, that could be just a case of Bradley just, you know, taking him out because he is legitimately a traitor and Bradley's got nothing to hide. But then it also could be a thing of silencing him and stop, like, trying to spread this sort of, you know, spreading this rumor mill that actually Bradley knows to be true, but he just doesn't want any more people knowing about it, kind of thing, you know. So it could go either way. We'll just have to wait and see. Another thing I thought was interesting was when Isaac died, there was a red ball that came out. And as soon as it dissipated, the Kimberly, it immediately transferred over to Kimberly, and he was like such a shame or something like that. Now, I don't know. You see, that could be another thing. Like, what if, because the Crimson Alchemist, right? Like, that doesn't give me any indication as to what kind of alchemist he is, but what if that bowl was actually something that controlled Isaac? You know what I mean? Or like if like Kimmy's like maybe like a puppet or something like that, like he's a puppeteer, or maybe it was something to not purely control him, like mind control or anything like that, but something to like implant some form of like paranoia in him, maybe, or just something to like change his mind. You know what I mean? It's because I don't know what else it could be other than like a tracker, and as soon as, like, you know, it leaves the body, it dissipates, so therefore he must be dead. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I think it makes sense, like, in some regards, that would be something that, like, if I go with the theory that Kimberly is part of that, you know, that crew with the other two at the end of the episode, that maybe it was a ploy to get in, like, you know, to get in there. If that is the case, then that would mean that this whole, like, sort of thing against the Führer Bradley and everything like that maybe isn't true. But that's what the evil guys believe anyway. You know what I mean? I don't know. Could be a few different things. What else? What else? I mean, other than that, I don't think there's anything really else. I mean, I love the blood freeze thing. That was really cool. I like the idea that he was using his own water, but because obviously his water, what he's talking about, is coming out as it's blood, so it literally is red. Like, I really like that. The only other thing, actually, I was just about to forget, was when Isaac turned the corner into the alley and saw Bradley, that it turned off into a black and white. I can't remember what it's called. There's a specific word for it where you have black and white in one colour that pops, and obviously that was the blood. You know what I mean? But I don't know. That's an interesting sort of. That's an interesting thing, and I don't know what it means. For a second after Bradley attacked Isaac, I was like, what, is he like a wind alchemist or something? You know what I mean? Because he was that quick, but then it could just be because he is that quick with a sword, and it's just, you know, it's just the effect. But, I mean, I don't know what changing the colour to black and white means in terms of, like, what power set is that? Like, what does it equate to? I mean, it could be Kimberly, you know? But then I don't know really what that means either, because then it's like, well, he's in a cell. How does he affect an area other than that? Because it wasn't like because the ball must have been within Isaac, right? But the black and white sort of effect wasn't cast as like a radius around that ball, clearly, because it was like Isaac walked into the black and white. So it must have been caused by Bradley then, surely. I can't look at that and think that that's just a visual effect for, like, you know, like, what's the point? Because then I would be surprised if it was just a way to censor the blood, you know? I mean, because you've got these scenes here, like, where you got, you know, Edward with his leg off. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess obviously the colour palette is there to, like, obviously not have it be, like, red. But it's just like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know, dude. I've never seen a visual effect like that would just be used for visual effect. Just to turn it black and white, because of what the fuck. Because then you've literally, because the colour that actually wasn't black and white was the blood. So surely it can't be censoring. Except for when it was, like, literally, like, you know, when he legitimately just, like, cut right through him. Then the blood wasn't red. I guess there's, like, a censorship for the amount of blood that can be seen. I don't know. You know, but yeah, I mean, there's something, regardless, there is something with the Führer Bradley and something, Isaac kept talking about Ishval, whatever that means. I had to look that up, by the way, because I did put Ishfall, and I put it in Google just to make sure, like, as a spell check kind of thing, and it's Ishval. So whatever that means, God knows. You know. Oh yeah, Chris Sabat as well. Fucking, you know what I mean? I just realised that there. It's literally below Ishval as Armstrong when I was naming the characters. I forgot to mention him. Yeah, so Chris Sabat, what is that? I mean, I said during the reaction, why am I not surprised that he's in this? You know what I mean? It's like, of course he would be. You know. But yeah, great. And he's like this, we haven't gotten his sort of, whatever element he uses. Like, maybe, if you're going by elements, then I would say rock. But then you've got alchemists here that aren't going by elements either. Like, crimson isn't an element, is it? So, you know, God knows. But yeah, anyway, interesting first episode. You know, it was definitely, like, purposefully put you sort of in the middle of the action in the first episode to get you sort of involved and excited about what's coming. What I really want now from episode 2 is exposition on shit. Story. Give me the story. Give me the world building. That's what I want. And more information on what's going on, you know. That's all I want. So, yeah. Exciting times. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. So yes, if you do want to get access to episode 2 right now, then you can do by becoming an early access tier patron. Talked about that before in the pre-discussion, but yes, that'll be over there on Patreon, early access right now, so you can go watch it. Of course, that will have the full length as well, so if you want to watch it in full, then you can do, again, over on my Patreon. And there is also a tier for exclusive called the exclusive tier, sorry, for my movie reactions and stuff when I react to movies. So if you want to watch my reactions to movies and everything, then you can go get that tier over there as well. There's also the link in the description below, and of course the link in the page, like to the patrons down there as well. But that is all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.